Hello, Miss
Hey,
Bellman.
wait, I'm going to start this interview by saying, what's your favorite pudding?
Mine probably would be butterscotch at the moment.
I'm going to go with sticky toffee.
Oh, that's definitely a good choice. I used to say tapioca, and then everybody looked at me like I was 70.
They're making a comeback, all those old dishes.
I do believe so. First of all, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. I am an absolute huge fan of your work.
Oh, great, thank you.
So the first thing I really wanted to ask is from the end of the previous series in Leverage to the beginning of the second season, Sophie's character arc has shifted fairly dramatically. What what do you find most fulfilling about the changes to the character that have occurred over the last season and going into the second season?
Well, I mean, everybody likes a cocoon story, I think, the idea of, coming I was a chrysalis. And I think that, last year it was very satisfying as an actor to play that kind of emotional kind of depth of the grief that she felt after losing her husband, and then all those questions of where was she going, what direction, was she ready to move on, was she ready to like follow her own path again. And then this year, I think, she's broken through. She like hits the ground running at the beginning of the season. She's in control. She's thrown away the widow's weeds. She's not wearing black anymore. She's all about pattern and color, and she's in the prime of her life. And then suddenly she gets completely caught short by this person from her past who comes, steps into the center of the frame and says, "You owe me." And that's a massive fly in the ointment for her.
So, are we to expect then that a good chunk of the focus for your character arc will be revisiting some of the past that we maybe haven't gotten to see up until this point?
Yeah, I mean, I think we do follow a kind of formula on the show, in that the first few episodes, touch upon the arc, and then they're resolved at the end of the season. I mean, Christian also has a really, Elliot has a really interesting arc this season as well. So it's not going to be kind of taken up by that, but it definitely top and tails. And definitely it plants the seeds of the other characters looking at her in a different light. Like, can we trust her? Is she being transparent? Is she like reliable? And these all make for interesting kind of conflict. I remember my first ever drama lesson, and the teacher wrote on the blackboard, "Drama equals conflict." And so here we are all these years later, and it still holds true.
Definitely. Now, part of the fun with the series, everybody having their specific areas of expertise and then learning off of each other is really a lot of fun. But for me, with the Sophie character, because she is a grifter and is constantly slipping into a different persona, that gives us a chance to see your dynamic range in terms of different accents that you get to perform. Up until this point, what has been your favorite accent to do for the show?
Um, oh, that's a really, really tricky question. I think I'm very I'm very what's the word, nostalgic. I'm sentimental about the pilot where I did South Africa, and I really enjoyed that all those years ago. But this year I've got some really, really, really fun accents. I'm having to speak Spanish, and as a Spanish speaking person, and when that was really, really challenging, because I don't speak any Spanish, and I love the language, and I know that in America there's a big Spanish speaking audience, and I really wanted to get it just right. So I put a lot of effort into that. I'm getting to play. I get to play this real like husky voice reporter in one of the episodes, and I had a lot of fun with that. I sort of invented a character. I don't from an old episode from Old Contact Job and a First Contact and Office Job, and she was one of those characters that talk like that, and I've sort of resurrected her. And the funny thing is, we're kind of running out of accents. So it's quite fun to kind of like bring back some Easter eggs, from the past and revisit. Almost like I'd never really thought of that, but maybe she's got her characters. Oh, this one's right for Jane from, so it's a lot of fun.
How about something that's kind of a little step back, a little more meta? You've now had a chance to really get to know everybody in this production very, very well at this point.
Who's my favorite? You really want to ask me who my favorite is?
Absolutely not. I'm going to ask you, who do you think is closest to their character in their normal personality?
Gosh, that's
I like to ask the hard ones.
I think it's a really hard one because we all have aspects, all of us have aspects of our characters. I think I really relate to Sophie in that I'm quite kind of like a serious person, but I'm also amongst my closest friends considered to be like, super goofy. But people always think, oh, Eugenia's so composed. But actually my close friends would say that I'm like a clown. And Beth is, Parker is so kind of like quirky, and Beth is actually very organized, very, just like super A-type organized. I guess, I don't think Christian like goes around murdering people, but I don't think he's a man of mystery, but he's quite broody in the same way that Elliot is, and he can be real kind of like real broody on set, sometimes. And Elise, I don't know. Good question. But if you want to know my favorite, it's the internet shut down.
Uh-oh. All right. It says 1 minute. Okay, so that leaves us with one question remaining. What are you most excited about for this coming season?
I think it's very satisfying because in very, very the short time that you have, I remember way back in the day talking to John Rogers and Dean Devlin and Chris Downey about what I thought my backstory was. And then all these years later, we've written this arc, and it's very, very true to the backstory that I had in my head at the very beginning of the season, of the series creation. So that's what I'm most excited about personally.
Well, thank you very much. I have to say it has been an absolute pleasure getting the chance to speak with you for the first time, and hopefully not the last. And I hope the season is uproariously successful, because this show is truly wonderful.
Thanks so much, Ken. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cheers.
True. Everybody loves pudding.